You know what sucks? This is the Brandon Walker College Football Show with Brandon Walker. You know what really sucks? The only game I was really super right about this weekend, the game I was the rightest of the right about, was that Mississippi State was going to lose to Kentucky. The only one I nailed perfectly. I mean, I nailed it perfectly. I almost gave you the score. Like, I just knew we were going to be sluggish and bad. But whatever. This isn't about us. This isn't about me. It's the Brandon Walker College Football Show. Hello to Danny Meyer and Chris Ailman and James Priola and first-time, long-time Ian Hogg, Alex Holmes, John Smith, Rob Wooden, Mark Struck, James Priola again, Kana G, Danny Meyer, Baby Luigi. Hello to everybody. What's up, everybody out there in college football land? It is the only college football show that tells you the truth and doesn't hide like a bitch when he's wrong. That's me. Zach Webb. Good to see everybody. Webb means sounding like an Ole Miss fan. How's everybody doing? Benjamin Russ, Casey McElroy, Troy Atwood, Justin Noble, Bing Johnson. Justin Noble says maybe one day you'll find the time to watch a Syracuse football game. That's the problem. I do watch Syracuse football games. That's why I know they're not a legit top 10 team. If you just look at their record and if you just look at their 6-0, you would think, oh, my goodness, that's a good team. Well, is it really? Like, it's fine. It's better than any Syracuse team's been in recent years, but I see the games. I can see the games. They're televised. I'm not going to sit here and be like any uneducated AP voter and just vote you number 7 in the country because you're undefeated. No, I've seen you play. I know. The others don't know. I know. Hello, Tristan James. Yes, B. Cooper, my rash is back. I've had a stressful day. But a very stressful day. And it's back with a vengeance. I got to welcome all of you to not only the Brandon Walker College Football Show, but to college football hell. A lot of you haven't lived through a time where Tennessee was elite and Tennessee was good, and we've arrived. They just won their biggest game in 2 decades the other day when they beat Alabama 52-49. Many of you who are not from the SEC or not old enough have no reason to remember a world where Tennessee fans enjoyed the success of being on top. Well, let me tell you something. They are the worst people that follow college football. Tennessee fans are absolutely terrible. And when they get a little bit of success, they act like they've been the greatest college football program in the history of the world for 100 years. In 2-3 weeks, you guys will sit back and realize, oh, my God, I didn't know Tennessee fans were like this. Watch. I'm telling you, they're like a rash on my face. Takes a while to come back, but when they – no, do we have to? Takes a while to come back, but when they do, it's ugly. Brandon, Michigan or Ohio State in the college football playoff or both? If you have never, ever, if you've never believed in the power of a 12-team playoff or expanded playoff, I hope this year wakes you up. I hope this year is the one that says, I'm an idiot for not wanting a playoff. In the SEC alone, we have potential for 3 playoff-worthy teams. If Alabama gets their shit together, which is another question entirely, Tennessee and Georgia are both undefeated. One of them could lose one game and not go to the SEC championship game. You have a chance at 3 one-loss teams in the SEC. In the Big Ten, you have a chance at an undefeated Ohio State and a one-loss Michigan, or an undefeated Michigan and a one-loss Ohio State. That's 5 teams in 2 conferences. Now, it usually works out. Teams usually lose, and it usually works out. But that's just 2 conferences. I've given you 5 potential playoff teams. I've given you 5 potential playoff teams, and not a whole lot has to go right for that to happen. That doesn't even take into account the incredible the fun of the Pac-12, who has 3 teams that are going to be in a playoff race until the end, potentially. If Oregon beats UCLA, you're going to have 3 teams with 1 loss going down to the end. Of course, UCLA and USC would play, but you might have 1 loss USC against 1 loss Oregon in the Pac-12 title game. Hello. Now that I laid that out, I just realized the Pac-12 will take care of itself. Just realized the Pac-12, but it'll have 1 playoff-worthy team. If Oregon beats UCLA, they all 3 have 1 loss. USC and UCLA play. 1 gets 2 losses. 1 has 1 loss, and they play 1 loss Oregon. It'll settle it, but that's a playoff team out there. Clemson in the ACC, nothing's getting in front of them. Nothing's getting in front of Clemson. They're going to be a playoff team. I've laid out 7 playoff teams right now that are legit that you could legit say is a playoff team. I haven't talked about the Big 12 at all. Probably won't. I don't think anybody in that conference is good enough. All right, 6:30 Connor. Greg Sankey better fire those refs. I really love, and I didn't care who won the game the other night, but it makes my heart soar with the Eagles' nest that Alabama fans had one game where the refs weren't preposterously in their favor and they can't handle it. They really believe the refs took the game from them at Tennessee the other day. No, what happened was you just got the same whistle we all get against Alabama. That's all. You got a fair whistle, and you're not used to that. Nick Saban's not used to that. I understand that. Alabama fans, this is life in the real world. You haven't lived in the real world. When other teams play Alabama, we have to play against the officials too. Now you got a fair game, and you don't know what to do. The worst call in that game went against Tennessee. The pass interference in the end zone that kept a touchdown drive alive for Alabama went against Tennessee. Idiots. Texas dummy says Evan Bosenko. Who's Evan Bosenko? What a terrible name that is. Called a PI on INT, says 6:30 Connor. Yeah, because it was pass interference. That's why they called it. It was pass interference. That's why they called it. Sorry. But really, when it comes to Alabama, they have nobody to blame but themselves. The road of the SEC is littered with people that would declare the Alabama dynasty dead when they would lose in 2012 to A&M, when they would lose in 2014 and 15 to Ole Miss, when they would lose anytime they lose, people declare it dead, and it rarely is. They lose a lot and still win the national title. But this team does look a little different. They played 6 games, and 3 of them have been trash. If Quinn Ewers doesn't get hurt, they lose to Texas. They beat a bad Texas A&M by 4 points, and now they lose to Tennessee. Half their games, they've been a bad football team. Their defense, what happened to it? 888-STOOL-22. Don't know where Will Anderson went either. Like, he just doesn't exist anymore. Brandon, why is the ACC underrated? Is it? We thought it might be, but NC State's kind of trash this year. Wake Forest is the second best team. Is that a really strong conference? I don't know. Roll says, lose a lot, 1 game a year. What I mean, you dumb fuck, I know you're from Alabama, so you can't comprehend simple language, is they don't often have undefeated seasons. They lose 1 game a season a lot. This is not uncommon for them to lose a game in a season. I understand that you went to Alabama and your mother's a whore, but you don't understand simple concepts. Please don't be here if you don't understand simple concepts. Wake Forest is good, Brandon. My name's Brandon Barrel. It's Brandon, Brandon. So Wake Forest is fine. Good is a stretch. Where does Nebraska go from here? The basement of the Big Ten, like they've been for pretty much a decade now. 888-STOOL-22. 888-STOOL-22.
I got one.
Yes, hello.
How you doing? For Tennessee, obviously, biggest win ever, right? They tweet out the day after the thing about pay for the goalpost.
Can you soften the lights? My rash is kicking.
What's your thoughts on the whole?
I think that's one of the most poverty program moves I've ever seen. Tennessee beats Alabama. Its first win in 2 decades. First good win in 2 decades. First great win in 2 decades. And they rush the field. They throw the goalpost in the river. Fantastic. Great story. Love to see it. And then their official Twitter account tweets out, hey, can you help us pay for the new goalpost? Shut the fuck up. Because I hear this from Tennessee fans more than anybody. Tennessee fans brag about their resources and how they have the biggest athletic budget in America and how much money they got. And as soon as you guys beat a good team, you're begging for money for a goalpost. The fuck are we doing in Tennessee? That's one of the most embarrassing tweets I've ever seen.
You do understand that it was more of just like a general fundraising. Like, they don't need the money to pay for the goalpost. It's more so like,
but that's still
hey,
dumb.
Let's get some money
still
rolling.
Really dumb.
It does look bad.
They don't need the fundraising. They don't need the fundraising. With the SEC contract, with the owners they got, with the Haslams, with everybody they got around them, that's just a weird time for that fundraising. I thought that was weird. Is it me or does Brandon look a little swollen? No, just broken out. Broken out. 888-STOOL-22. Andrew Cooper says BFW doesn't understand jokes. Tennessee's official Twitter account is not capable of jokes. Sorry.
I don't think it was a joke either.
Yeah.
I think it was more so like, hey, let's stir up some
Andrew
fundraising.
Cooper, your mother's a whore, too.
Okay.
South Carolina going to beat A&M at fucking what? Football? Yeah, probably. Who gives a shit? South Carolina and A&M could play in this room, and I wouldn't watch it.
Best Canadian player from the NCAA all time.
Let Frenchie fight in Rough and Rowdy. Who the fuck is Frenchie? Don't
that guy's
spam
been
the chat.
spamming that for like
Don't spam the fucking
10
chat.
days.
Kick him out. I don't want anybody spamming the chat with this shit. Don't let people spam the chat. 888 Stool 22. Has C.J. Stroud won the Heisman? I think he's in first place, but he would have to. He's got 2 big games coming up. He's got Penn State and Michigan. He's got to beat Michigan, and he's got to probably put up numbers. He can't just have a 175-yard day and beat Michigan. He's got to put up numbers. 888 Stool 22. Who will win the SEC? Georgia. Georgia beat Tennessee, and then they'll beat Alabama in the SEC title game. Tennessee's going to be interesting because they'll be a one-loss. There'll be a one-loss team sitting there with the win over Alabama. Please go on an Auburn rant. We're a drowning program. I don't like Auburn right now because you guys perpetuated the myth that Ole Miss is good. Ole Miss is so trash. The fakest fake I've ever seen. Can't wait till LSU beats their ass this week. BFW, can Miami go 8-4 still? Yeah, they could. They could. Who we got here? CJ in Mississippi, Tyler in Knoxville, Alexander in Knoxville. All of a sudden, we got phones in Knoxville. See, these people are like fucking maggots, man. Every call's from Knoxville all of a sudden. God damn. Who's the most overrated team in college football? It's Ole Miss. And they're a good team, but they're not the 7th best team in the country. It's like Arkansas, Kentucky, and Ole Miss. Arkansas was 3-0. They put them number 7 in the country. No, that's way overrated. Kentucky was 3-0, 4-0. They put them number 6 or 7 in the country. That's way overrated. And Ole Miss at number 7, way overrated. All 3 of those teams are like 15 to 20. The SEC is good at the top, terrible at the bottom, and just every team's the same in the middle. Kentucky can beat Mississippi State, who can beat Ole Miss, who can beat LSU, who can beat Arkansas, who can beat A&M. Like, it's just obviously Arkansas lost A&M, but you see what I'm saying. Everybody in there is interchangeable outside of Vanderbilt, Missouri at the bottom, and the 3 at the top. Brandon and I from Scotland. Can I call? I don't know. You got a phone? Biggest disappointment so far? Probably Boston College is very disappointing in my opinion. 888 Stool 22. We opened the phone lines tonight at 6:15. Although, shout out to Michigan. I never said they would lose to Penn State because I didn't know. I knew we knew nothing about both of those teams. I knew we were going to find out about those teams on Saturday. And put aside Penn State for a minute because they just, for whatever reason, under James Franklin, they don't bring it in these big games. But Michigan looked like 2 top 10 teams walked in, and one team looked like a top 5 team, and one team looked like a fucking joke. And I'm not going to call Penn State a joke and say this was a bad win for Michigan because it wasn't. Because, again, Michigan answered the bell. Michigan came out and said, we're a top 5 team, and thumped their chest and said, we are this. And Penn State just said, okay, sir. Sorry, sir. The fact that Penn State was leading that game 14-13 at one point was the biggest fluke that ever fluked. That game was 41-17, but it was really like 65-2. It was just a complete ass whipping. That was a team that belonged in the playoff discussion, Michigan, and a team that belongs nowhere near it in Penn State. And if you're Penn State, you're paying James Franklin that money for this. Every time you get up against a good program, you look like trash. Could Auburn poach Kiffin? They're not going to poach him. He's actively trying to go there. Lane Kiffin will be Auburn's next coach. They already talked, so Lane Kiffin will be Auburn's next football coach. 888 Stool 22. Brandon, is anybody going to crush James Franklin contract like people do to Mel Tucker at MSU, Jesse Adams? Well, that's a different animal. You guys gave, at least Franklin's had years of success. You guys gave Mel Tucker $95 million after one good season, a season where he won a lot of games that they shouldn't have won. Like they won so many games where they got outgained and they just happened to win the game, and you guys gave him $95 million for that? That's the worst contract in football right now. Well, that and Jimbo's close. Jimbo's very close. Hey, at least nobody anointed Penn State as a top 10 team. Yeah, you take guesses on these teams, man. And I thought they looked like one going into last week, and then they were trash. I'll get Church out of here. He's a guy from Jackson, Tennessee that has stalked me before. He has some bad things in his past. We're not going to talk to that guy. We're gonna. That guy's a weird dude. 888 Stool 22. That guy is an actual real life bad person. Stock up on the bacon because you be swimming in eggs on Thanksgiving. Somebody learned English enough to type that out and couldn't learn the rest of it.
Is Illinois legit?
At what? Football?
That's what Conquistador
They're fine.
has.
Not really. I mean, they might win the West, but they're legit's a hard word. Like if they were in the East, would they matter at all? No. They just happen to. I mean, they lost to Indiana for God's sakes. We go to start this show. The calls. CJ in Mississippi. Go ahead.
Hey, Brandon. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I just want to call in and say that it feels like 98. And when I say it feels like 98, I'm not talking about Tennessee. I'm talking about the Tulane Green Wave, who were ranked for the first time since 98. I usually talk about Mississippi State, but I did attend Tulane, and that was a school that was just in the dumpster for football for basically every year since 98. And then Willie Fritz came in, turned him around. I think he kind of deserves some Coach of the Year talk right now with what he's done there. They went over Kansas State, and now they're 6-1. I don't know what your thoughts on that were.
Yeah, they beat Kansas State on the road. Then I think they lose to Southern Miss. That's a weird loss because they are 6-1. They're ranked. I looked down, saw Tulane ranked this week. I was like, really? But boy, that 20-25 spot will just feature anybody this year. But Tulane has had a really good year, really good turnaround. Willie Fritz probably going to need to get a big job soon. I don't know which big job he'll get, but Auburn could do a lot worse than Willie Fritz, even though they won't allow themselves to talk about that. 888 Stool 22. Can we agree that Michigan's the best team in the Big Ten? We cannot. We cannot do that at all. They might be, but I can't put them over Ohio State right now. I would put those even at worst, and they got to go to Columbus. 888 Stool 22. We go to line again. Just might as well we have three calls from Knoxville right now. You guys didn't know where the phone was last week. All of a sudden, we got it now, although I think Tyler's called before. Hello, Tyler in Knoxville.
Hey, what's up, big time B-Walk? First off, my condolences to you and your Bulldogs.
Thank you.
Me and a lot of the people legitimately thought you guys had a chance to sneak away to Atlanta in the West. But
I told you guys we were going to lose.
I know, but you know what? I don't care. First-time caller, so I don't want to start off on a bad foot. So I'm not going to bring up how you and a lot of other quote-unquote college football experts are wrong, and how if Bryce Young starts, Alabama –
fucking talk, man. Just fucking get to your fucking point.
Well, the real big question was you said that Tennessee doesn't beat Georgia, which they probably won't, but we have an Achilles heel, and it's obviously on the defense. Mm-hmm. And you saw it when you watched the game on Saturday, but I've watched Tennessee for my whole life, but most specifically these last 2 years. Our Achilles heel is not our secondary, because when anybody gets beat deep, they're going to give up points. But Tim Banks runs a lot of zone coverage, all-out blitz packages, and it just leaves the middle of the field wide open. So a team with like Stetson Bennett and Brock Bowers are going to eat that up. But another thing is when we rush, we make quarterbacks run out of the pocket quite a bit. You see last year with Ole Miss, this year with Anthony Richardson and Bryce Young. I don't think Stetson Bennett has that capability as well as they do. I think we can fuck around and find out a little bit with pressuring Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, I don't hate the idea that Tennessee could go down there and win the game. I mean, I don't think Georgia's a mighty, unbeatable team at all. I just think I think taking this show on the road, if that game were not in Knoxville the other day, does Tennessee win it? I don't know, and that's not fair to even ask. But they will have to go to Athens, and they will have to beat Georgia in Athens, and that's a totally different animal. And for some reason, Alabama's defensive backs were just getting cooked all day, and I'm not sure Georgia's going to allow Hendon Hooker the time that Will Anderson, who I don't know where he went, and Alabama couldn't get pressure on Hendon Hooker, and they couldn't bother him at all. And I know Kirby Smart's going to dial something up to at least bother him. It's going to be a close game. Tennessee Georgia's going to be awesome, and I can't wait. I would give Georgia the nod being at home though, just like I would give them the nod over anybody being at home. I'm not going to sit here and say Tennessee has no shot to go in there and win because that would be stupid. Thank you very much. P-Walk, how far away is NC State? I think from here it's about 1,100 miles. Alexander in Knoxville, go ahead.
Hey, Brandon.
Hey.
Hey, you can't be calling me a maggot. I've been calling in every week this whole season.
Thank you.
But I'm not going to put it lightly. Saturday was the best day of my entire life, and I wish that feeling upon every SEC fan outside of maybe Florida. But it's a great feeling, and I still can't believe it's real. And I know there's probably going to be a lot of obnoxious Tennessee fans calling in today.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be like that. It's just amazing, and I'm so glad to be hopefully out of the desert. My dad took me to my first game when I was 5 in 2007, so this is legitimately the first time I've ever seen us beat Alabama.
Well, there is no sport where the win feels better than a big win in college football. I mean, they're taking the fucking goalpost to the river. There's no sport where a loss feels worse, but you don't have to experience that right now. You are back near the top of college football. We'll see how long the ride lasts. Could it last the whole season? Yeah, it could. Could you have a Heisman winner? Yeah, you could. So we'll see. We'll see about Tennessee. But right now, one of the great fan bases in college football has awoken and are enjoying their most success in 2 decades. And it was an incredible scene. Like, you guys not only passed the Alabama test, but you passed the eye test. Like, it was 110,000 people or whatever in there. It was awesome. You had the orange sky. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of college football the other day that we all watched.
Yes, sir. And there was one thing I did want to go on a slight rant about. At College Game Day, an adult, like probably 50-year-old Alabama woman, had a sign up. And it was a picture, and I see this a lot with SEC fans being in the Bible Belt. There's a bunch of pictures of Bryce Young kneeling down to pray. And it said, godly men always prevail. Now, I am sure Bryce Young is a great young man, right? I have nothing against the guy, and I hope he's a Christian. I mean, that would be great, and I believe he is. But SEC fans act like their quarterback or their star player is the only one who is a good, godly young man. And being in the SEC, probably half the players on those teams are Christians and are probably good kids. And it just bothers me to put that up against each other. And, I don't know if it's just ignorance, but it's just extremely annoying.
I'll talk to it real quick. College football fans in the South are weird. They like to blend their Saturdays and Sundays. They like to pretend that their Saturdays are incredibly looked upon by the God that they worship on Sundays. Look no further than the way Dabo Swinney has created a cult at Clemson. He says all the right things. He says all the biblical things, and they eat it up. Meanwhile, things are probably being done behind the scenes to make sure that Clemson machine is rolling and has the right players that are not. I don't know if they're all the time godly. I don't know if that question can be answered, but I'm just not sure. And for someone to hold up a sign saying godly men always prevail, that's fine. That's good. That's a good sentiment. Awesome. Beautiful. I'm pretty sure Tennessee has some players that are going to pray. I'm pretty sure Tennessee has some players that have read their Bible. So when Alabama fans, when college football fans, mostly in the South, do that, it's the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. Thank you for the call. 888-STOOL-22. We go to Andrew in Cincy. Go ahead.
Hey, Brandon. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you, sir.
I wanted to circle back at our call last week. Told you interceptions aren't that big of a deal. Wanted to bring up this past weekend and the results of the ranked games. Are you okay with that?
Just get to your fucking point. Don't try to be clever or cute.
Okay. We got NC State, Syracuse, NC State, no picks. Syracuse, 2 picks.
All right, we're done. He was a Kentucky fan calling to talk shit, and I'm not going to sit there and let you do a fucking bit. Like, call, do it, or don't. Do it or don't. You had the chance. You were on the phone, and you wanted to tap dance. Idiot. Am I in a good mood today?
No.
Okay. Fuck. Tim in Tennessee, go ahead.
Hey, Brother Brandon. I hope you're doing well. I just had one quick question for you. And you said you will admit when you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Have your quarterback rankings changed from the first or the rankings you gave out last week?
Well, yeah, because I mean, we just watched Hendon Hooker with a star-making performance. Hendon Hooker, who I had third last week, I would put at number 2 now, right behind C.J. Stroud. Hendon Hooker was incredible, although I would move Bryce Young back up too. I had Bryce Young number 5. Hell, I might put him above Hooker. I think he played better than Hooker on Saturday. So he was incredible. They were both. I would say C.J. Stroud 1, Hendon Hooker 2, and Bryce Young 3 would be my current rankings of college football quarterbacks.
Wow, I really appreciate that, Brandon, and I'm glad we could have a good call. And can you please tell Alabama fans that Dixieland a lot is literally about Tennessee?
Yeah, I've told them many times they're too stupid to listen. So I don't know what you want me to tell them. This is the same team that gets the most biased officiating in America for 20 years, and as soon as they have a fairly officiated game, they whine and bitch for 4 days.
They're a bunch of pussies.
They're a bunch of pussies. Yeah, that's correct. 8-8 still 22. I just ain't got no patience for dumbness today. Thomas in Chicago, go.
Hey, Brandon. Hope you're having a good day. I got office trivia, and then I got 2 things. So
I need the office trivia. Give it to me.
All right, office trivia. What is the snack day that Stanley and Michael bond over and cannot wait for 364 days until the next one?
I mean, listen. I go home. Hold on. What's the exact phrase? I go home to a bed that's too small for a job that pays too little. I work a job that pays too little, go home to a bed that's too small, yada, yada, yada. But pretzel day? Well, I like pretzel day.
Hey, Phil, stop coming line. Get the fuck back. Oh, my God. Doing the call.
What a pair of Marys. All right, continue.
Oh, my God. That USC-Utah game was fucking atrocious with officiating. They were handing Utah that game. It you know what it felt like? It felt like the whole remember the whole USA Russia Olympic gold medal basketball game where they kept putting more time on the clock for Russia to score.
1972 in Munich, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. Now the Pac-12 is fucked because this is. Am I wrong to think that if you're not a USC Oregon or UCLA fan, that let's say like you're Arizona or Cal, Stanford, that you should focus solely on just one of those 3 teams just winning out, because that's the only way a Pac-12 team can get in.
Oh well, no, I mean, but that's how football is, right? It's a 12 game race to see who's going to get eliminated. So now you've got a 1-loss USC, an undefeated UCLA, and a 1-loss Oregon, and UCLA plays Oregon next, and if Oregon wins, they all 3 have 1 loss. And then USC and UCLA will play. That'll be a nice playoff. And then the winner will play Oregon if they still have 1 loss. So it actually plays out well to deliver a Pac-12 team to the playoff with 1 loss, as long as they all hold up their end of the bargain. As long as UCLA holds up their end and doesn't lose to anybody else, as long as USC doesn't lose to anybody else, as long as Oregon doesn't lose to anybody else, the Pac-12 is set to get a playoff spot right now. Because they will have a tested 1-loss champion. Now, it has to play out just like that, but I want to circle back to the way it started here.
Yeah, and then I have a just quick question. Don't you think it's kind of weird that Nick Saban has never found a kicker? Like every year, it seems like he's always.
No, this guy's pretty good. Reichard's pretty good, and he missed a 51-yarder the other night. But I'm not going to hate on Will Reichard. I think he's a pretty damn good kicker. He did miss the 51-yarder, but. That's a tough kick in those circumstances. But I want to circle back to one thing he said. I don't know if you guys watched the USC-Utah game. I did. I had USC money line, and that was the right play. It was the right pick. Do not blame me. We got a super chat now?
$5 super chat from Sharaf3143 said thoughts
right.
on the state of Florida Gators.
I want you to keep that to where you can read it to me in a second when I make my point.
You can click on it.
I can make it stay up there?
On the top. Where that $5 thing is.
All right, fair enough. So if you watch USC Utah, it was some of the worst officiating I've ever seen. They walked Utah down the field. In the second half, when they started catching up, there was one drive with multiple penalties. They had a targeting and a roughing the passer on one play, and it was neither of those things. It wasn't roughing the passer. It wasn't targeting. It wasn't even close. They had multiple roughing the passer penalties that weren't roughing the passer. Pac-12 officials decided USC wasn't winning that football game. I guess because USC's leaving, but they fucked them. They fucked them bad. What else? What is it? Okay. Thoughts on the state of Florida Gators, Billy Napier, also a big Mississippi State signing of Creed Whitmore. This weekend, kid could be a stud. Yeah, Billy Napier in Florida they got some, I don't know. LSU walks in there and beats them in the swamp. They got the one big win over Utah. It was probably the flukiest win of the season so far because Florida, every time they play anybody halfway decent, they're trash. Richardson's not good. And like Richardson's not, I don't know if he's going to get any better. So Billy Napier, I don't know what Florida fans expect to see here. He's got to recruit a top 10 class, top 12 class. If he doesn't do that, they're not impressive. 888 Stool 22. JP in Austin, go ahead.
Hey, man.
What's up?
First of all, I was born Mississippi in Flowood, dude. All those kids at Jackson Prep go to Ole Miss. Fuck Ole Miss.
Okay.
Second of all, moved on to Texas, dude. Texas -6, I think. I don't understand that at home against Oklahoma State. I really don't.
I think the books really, really like Texas. I think they think they're really good. Now, Texas did play poorly the other day, but Iowa State's defense is outstanding. And Iowa State probably could have won that game, should have won that game, but Texas still won it. I'm not sure the books really respect Oklahoma State all that much. I mean, TCU was a 4-point favorite against them. I know TCU won the game, but they didn't cover. But I don't think the books really like Oklahoma State that much.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. Coming off of that loss you don't think Gundy's going to get them up?
The problem is the way you slow down, the way you beat Texas this year, you need a really good defense. You need to slow down slow down Bijan Robinson. And Oklahoma State's defense is trash. It's not good. They've given up 31 points to a third-string quarterback against Texas Tech. They gave up 43 in a comeback effort against TCU. They're not a good defense, and Quinn Ewers and Bijan Robinson and Xavier Worthy can chew that shit up. So I don't think they're built to beat Texas. I think this line makes sense. Thank you very much. SEC East greater than West. Well, that ain't true. Although they got two. I don't know. I still don't think Tennessee's a better team than Alabama. I'll put them on the same level this year. They've reached the same level. Jason in Houston, go ahead.
What's going on, Brian? How you doing?
Good. Thank you for calling back. What's up?
All right, look, so first of all, stop answering the phone for them losers from Knoxville, man. They beat us for the first time in damn near 2 decades, and now I guess they run college football. That's first. I will admit, though, they are very, very good and much better than I initially anticipated. But I'm calling to say Alabama still runs college football. I don't know, to your point earlier, what the hell happened to Will Anderson, but I do think the defense will get it together. Will played. I think they beat Georgia. We played them again in Atlanta, and we whooped their ass this time.
Well, here's the thing. Alabama lost in 2011 in the regular season, won the national title. Alabama lost in the regular season in 2012, won the national title. Alabama lost last year in the regular season, played for a national title. Alabama has lost a lot. 2015 played for a national title. They've lost a lot in the regular season, or they've lost in frequent years and still rebounded. And every time they lose, somebody steps up and says, well, I don't know about this time. You don't make money saying that Alabama's finished when they lose a football game. However, in those years, I could look at that game and say that was a fluke. This time, giving up 52, where has Will Anderson gone? Where is Dallas Turner? Helms is getting beat he's getting beat constantly on the back end. Eli Ricks, did he even transfer to Alabama? Like, where is he? I don't know where the good player is on defense that's supposed to stop this, because usually they have that guy. Usually they got Reuben Foster that's making sure nothing happens. Usually they got Quentin Williams that takes charge. Where is that guy, and when's he going to show up? That's my question, Jason.
Absolutely, and I agree wholeheartedly. I don't know what the fuck happened to Eli Ricks. Like he was actually like on the draft boards preseason to be like a top 10 pick. So I don't know if he fucked around and got in saved in doghouse or whatever happened. I know he might have had some injuries. I don't really know.
Can I tell you what I think happened to him?
I'm sorry?
I want to tell you what happened to Eli Ricks, okay?
All right. No, I can't hear what you're saying. You're going in and out. But I got one question before you hang up.
All right.
If you have the number 1 pick, how the fuck could you not take Bryce Young?
C.J. Stroud's pretty good too, man. C.J. Stroud's good, but Bryce Young, I would say that's going to be your 1 and 2 pick, and Bryce Young might be number 1. I mean, they're both fantastic, but Bryce Young has that. C.J. Stroud throws to wide open receivers all the time, and Bryce Young can make a play on his own, which I don't know that C.J. Stroud has proven he can make a play on his own like Bryce Young has.
Fact. I like CJ. I think he's a really, really good quarterback. But I think a lot of it is Bryce's size. I think if he was like an inch or two taller and maybe 10 pounds heavier, he'd be viewed as a generational talent, like a Trevor Lawrence or somebody. But I think because he's so small in stature that they don't really fuck with bro like that.
I mean, Kyler Murray was a number 1 pick overall, won a Heisman, and he's Bryce Young's size. And I think Bryce Young is a better college football player than Kyler Murray was. I think Saturday really impressed. Bryce Young impressed me more Saturday than he has in his entire career. And I know he won the Heisman last year, but that was the best Bryce Young we've ever seen. He put that team on his back and was scoring touchdowns by himself.
Bro, it was amazing. Like he's literally like carrying us on his back right now. You know what I'm saying? Because to your point, if you think about it, these are the weakest receivers we didn't have in the entire Saban era. We've always had a number 1 guy going back to Julio. You know what I'm saying? And then even from a running back perspective, and I know Jameer has come on the last couple of weeks, but I mean, if you go back and look at the backs that we've had, man, we've always had a great back. We've always had a number 1 receiver. Bryce doesn't really have either of those things. And I can't say that, I guess, with Jameer, but I will say he's had a lot less talent than all of the other previous Bama quarterbacks that had success.
He has, and Jameer Gibbs, his numbers look good and everything, but he's not a typical Alabama running back. He's not an Alabama running back that on 3rd and 4 you're going to give it to him and he's going to get it at all times. He's not the go get the tough yards running back. He's somebody that can get out in space and get out in the corner and go 80 yards, but he's not the typical every down running back that's going to get tough yards Alabama's had for Saban's entire tenure.
Exactly. So I don't know, man. Like I said, Tennessee's much better than I thought that they were going to be. But let's be honest, the refs fucked us. And I know.
Oh, I'm not giving you that one. I'll agree with everything. I'm not agreeing with this one.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the dude Kool-Aid was damn near down the field in the end zone by the time he threw the fucking flags. I mean, what was he doing?
That was weird. I will give you that was weird. I don't understand why that happened. I saw a picture today of the ref throwing the flag, and Kool-Aid was literally at midfield. So I don't understand why that happened, but I do think it was pass interference.
Bro, what the fuck was that, bro?
It was weird. When he threw the flag, it was fucking weird. I've never seen a flag come out that late. Never in my life. Thank you very much, Jason in Houston. I like him.
That was a very good call.
He's a good caller.
Has he called before?
Yeah, he called last week.
I feel like I recognized the voice or something. I don't know.
He called last week. He called last week and he said he found me somewhere and he fucks with me heavy and he put all his boys on me.
Oh yeah. Good call, Jason. Keep calling.
Hope you're doing good, bro. We all go through some things. We got your back, BFW. Said Gerald White. What? Am I doing okay? I feel like I'm okay.
I don't know.
All right.
You played your first dozen game of the year today.
I did. It'll come out tomorrow night. Played macrodosing. Yep. Brandon Walker returns to save the dozen. That is what you need to worry about. Without me, that show's not anything. Without me, it doesn't have a heart. It doesn't have a soul. It's got guys like Minahan going on there being boring for an hour and just answering golf questions. That's fun. 888 Stool 22. Mark in Philly, go.
Sup, B-Walk. Went 2-1-1 on my calls from last week. Penn State was a dead dog loser, and shame on me for believing in them. However, I was spot on with Tennessee and even more on Syracuse, who I loved. So for this week, I've got one pick and then two Pac-12 questions for you. First, I love Maryland to absolutely pummel Northwestern. This line is opening at 13.5. I'm going to wait to see where it settles, but Northwestern's lost 5 straight after winning in Dublin. They lost to SIU and Miami of Ohio. Their offense has been a total joke since then. Taulia's going to throw it all over the place and win by 20+. And then my two Pac-12 questions are, one, am I a moron for thinking UCLA is going to win as a dog for the third straight week? And 2, who's the most likely team in the Pac-12 to make the playoff right now?
USC is the most likely team. They lost on the road to Utah, but they lost by a point. They lost in tough circumstances. Losing at Utah is nothing to be embarrassed about. They still get to play UCLA, who could be undefeated at the time, and they would get to play Oregon perhaps in the Pac-12 title game. So Oregon gets to play UCLA at home. They get to play Utah at home. Oregon has a good chance to get to that title game. So I think it's USC. I think they're better than UCLA, and I think Oregon's also going to beat UCLA this weekend. I don't see it with UCLA. I think they've been good. They beat Utah at home, but they haven't had to do anything outside of Los Angeles yet. They haven't had to go anywhere and beat anybody. Well, now going to Oregon with a undefeated record and a top 10 thing hanging around your neck, I don't like this spot for UCLA at all.
I think UCLA is going to win this week, but I'm with you on USC definitely still being the most likely team from the Pac-12 to make the playoff. I think that they're probably going to win out.
All right, thank you very much. 888-STOOL-22. I would almost go as far as say I think USC is going to make the playoff. We go to Dan in Iuka, Mississippi, which is in beautiful Tishomingo County. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, Brandon, I just wanted to tell you that I think Mississippi State, I think we're still going to be good. I think we're going to end up with, 8 wins. And don't let people give you too hard of a time. I know people have been giving you a hard time about it, but I really think we're still going to, we have a lot of good players, and I think we're going to be okay. But one last thing I just wanted to tell you, this is church, you idiot, and state sucks.
Hold on. That is church. That's the guy everybody was clamoring for. Church. He went through all that, and he came up with state sucks. Go ahead, Church. Keep talking.
Look, man.
Go ahead. Keep talking.
Keep talking, so you're not going to cut me off like you blocked me on Twitter?
I did block you on Twitter. You're weird. You stalked me.
It was messing with you, Brandon. And then also, are you going to tell everybody how you're partly responsible for a family member because you joked about him dying like a couple weeks before he actually died?
What is this?
Karma.
Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Obviously, you're thinking about me, Brandon Walker.
I'm not. You just asked me if I cursed my family member who died.
Bad things. You said you had some go back and read our Twitter text.
Dude, you guys shut the fuck up. I'll tell everybody your phone number right now. You guys shut the fuck up. Don't ever fucking call again, all right? That ain't fucking funny. Dude, that was fucked up. That's weird. I mean, like, you want to be funny. Oh, he's on Barstool. I'm going to mess with him. That's weird. Funny is funny. God damn. Hmm. 888-STOOL-22. Kind of weird caller, NPC8. No, that guy's a fucking weirdo. He DMs me from a different account every day. He's weird. And you guys wanted him to call. I saw y'all saying, church call. You got your call. Hey, YouTube, are you excited that you got your call? Motherfuckers from Jackson, Tennessee. He's going to call. All right. We'll go to line 5. Chris in Canada. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Brandon. How you doing today?
Good. What's up?
Just a heads up, your coffee crisps and your other goodies are on the way from up here. So
that's how you bounce back. That you take Chris from Canada, he sends you some delicious candy. That's how you bounce back. Shout out to Chris from Canada.
Right on. Thanks, Brandon. Canadian trivia. How many pro sports teams can you name from up here?
I'm going to say I can name 15 Canadian pro sports teams.
Well, I think that's a stretch, but
okay. Well, hold on. Stop. The Toronto Blue Jays, the Toronto Raptors, the Ottawa Senators, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Montreal Canadiens, the Edmonton Oilers, the Calgary Flames. Who's out in the Vancouver Canucks, Edmonton, Calgary. That's in Alberta. Who's in Saskatchewan? That's 9. So the Edmonton Oilers, no, the Edmonton Eskimos, now the Edmonton Elks. That's 10. The Toronto Argonauts in the Canadian Football League. The Hamilton Tiger Cats. That's 12. All right, the Montreal Alouettes. That's 13. The Saskatchewan. Hold on, Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's 14. Come on, Brandon. Come on, bring it home. Bring it home. Give me one more Canadian Football League team. Hold on. Toronto, I've already said. Montreal, I've already said. Fuck. Is there one? There's not one in Vancouver. There should be a Vancouver.
West Coast.
Yeah. Who's
West Coast football?
EC? No, British Columbia. Is there? God damn it! I don't remember the fucking Canadian foot. Yes, you have your hand up.
Do you need a lifeline?
Can I use TJ as my lifeline to get to 15? Will you allow that?
Are you there? Sorry.
Will you allow me to use TJ as a lifeline to get one more so I can get to 15?
Yeah, for sure.
TJ.
Ottawa Red Blacks.
Yeah.
15.
BC Lions.
What about it? Continue.
Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay, and my other question, it's a hypothetical situation here. If TCU runs the table and they can win the Big 12, is there any possible way they make the college football playoff?
If they go undefeated? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. If they go undefeated as an undefeated Power 5 champion, I think they're going to make the playoff. You know, at that point, they will have had wins over some really good teams. Oklahoma State's good, Texas, you know, and then they'll have to beat another good team again. And Kansas State. Like, is Kansas State TCU this week? Kansas State's good, and they don't have a Big 12 loss. So, yes, if TCU wins out and goes undefeated, they will play in the college football playoff. I don't think that's going to happen, but they would. Thank you. 888 Stool 22. My nose itched. We go to JD in St. Louis. Go ahead, JD.
Hey, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Not good. I'm just trying to make sense of this all. Everyone knows I'm your biggest fan, so I think it kind of goes without saying, but I'm also trying to be a fan of your favorite sports teams.
Okay.
And this game with Kentucky, I just feel like I need some answers so I can probably represent the SIP.
Well, I mean, number one, don't ever say the SIP again because that's an Ole Miss thing. Number two is there's a thing called the cream theory. The cream rises to the top. But the cream theory to me says every time Mississippi State has a chance to be good or elite and has a chance to take the next step, they always step all over their fucking nutsack. And Mississippi State never takes the next step, and they are doomed to repeat this my entire life. So do not become a Mississippi State fan. JD, do not become a Mississippi State fan. I will not allow that to happen. I've already done that to my kids. I cannot let it happen to you.
But no, I mean, we're a good team. We average like 106 yards rushing per game. How come the Dogs only scrapped 17 on Saturday?
I don't like this. I don't like this character arc.
I mean, Kentucky even had like 3 of their biggest stars out. They had that wide receiver.
I just hung up on JD. JD's my best caller, but I just showed you I'll hang up on him. He's my best caller. He's my best guy. That's my lead horse. That is my lead horse. And I just bailed on him. I didn't like that character arc. He's written some good stuff in the past. I didn't like that one. That was like what they did to Andy in season 9 of The Office. Just wrote a bad character. 888 Stool 22. Y'all understand that was a bad call, right? Y'all understand that was a bad call? I couldn't let that happen. TJ, what do you think about hanging up on JD?
I mean, I'm in gorilla position, but you're in mission control, brother. You call the shots. You have the kill switch for a reason.
JD will be back. He's better than that.
He'll re-up and be.
He'll be back.
It took him 40 minutes to call in anyway, so he probably was not mentally there for.
Yeah, he'll be back. I'm not worried about JD. He'll be back.
Yeah.
Just goes to show that you all got to be on your best every night. All right. 888 still.
No show Wednesday and Thursday this week.
Not every night because we're not going to be here Wednesday and Thursday. I'm flying to Mississippi. I have a funeral to go to.
That's what?
All right, that's a lie. I have to go. I was just looking for some more sympathy. I'm going down to the Barstool Invitational. Mississippi State's one of the teams, and I'm going to practice with the team. So there might be a funeral, actually.
For your ankles.
It'll just be mine, yes. All right. Line 7. Daniel in Athens, go ahead.
What's up, Brandon? Excited for the season 3 premiere of The Dozen tomorrow.
Yes, good point.
True. My question is really regarding Tennessee. I was happy for him for the 5 minutes that I wasn't on Twitter on Saturday, and then I remembered how much I hated him again. Do you think the winner of the game in Athens at the beginning of November, given they run their schedule up to the conference championship game, are they a lock for the playoff? Or do you think there's still scenarios where that's not the case? Like given.
Yeah, well, I mean, depending on what happens in Michigan, Ohio State, right? What happens in those 2 seasons? Because the winner of that would be a lock for the playoff, and the loser is going to have a good case. So that's 2 teams out of the Big Ten that's going to have a say. Whatever happens in the Pac-12, they might have a representative. I don't think anybody's getting in Clemson's way. So I think this time in the playoff, I'm looking at a scenario where we got probably 6 or 7 teams that are going to have a chance to get in, like a good case to get in if everything happens the way I see. So I'm not sure Georgia or Tennessee could win that game and then lose the SEC title game and still get in. They might, but I wouldn't call it a lock by any means. I think whoever wins Georgia-Tennessee is going to have to account for Alabama again, and whoever wins the SEC title game will get in. But I don't think the loser is a lock to get in.
Fair. All right, appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much. 888 Stool 22. Coming to save my show, The Dozen. Sad what it turned into. Purgatory. I told him I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do a show there. All white background, you wouldn't be able to see me. 888 Stool 22. Norm in Fort Worth, go ahead.
Good morning to you, Brandon, or good evening. Hey, quick question for you. I've seen that Will Rogers with 2,300 yards passing with 23 TDs. How do you feel about trading Dakota Prescott over to you, and we'll take Will Rogers on the Cowboys?
So you're either going to have to start talking in your actual voice and stop doing stupid characters, or I'm hanging up.
Well, I hate it. That has to go this way.
What's your second question?
My second question is, what do you think about the Arkansas Razorbacks? Do you think they'll even have a chance against Auburn this week?
No, Arkansas is trash, and you're trash too. 888 Stool 22. Y'all don't mind me. Can I just take a 1-minute timeout? 1 minute timeout real quick. So I have to take a 1 minute timeout.
You take a lap, or you want to start a commercial?
I just got to talk to Jesus for a second. Can I talk to Jesus? Jesus, when you answered all my prayers and you gave me the shows I asked for, I didn't specify that I wanted shows without weird people, without the dregs of society. I don't want the Ben Mentzes of the world on this show. I need to spare the people from that. So, Lord, thank you for the shows. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me producers, even if they did turn out to be TJ. Can I just come back to you one time and say thank you for the shows, but can we clean up the callers? Can we clean it up? Is there any way we can do that? Thank you. Amen. NPC 8, good point. Church did kill the vibes of this show. Church killed the vibes. He changed everything. He just walked in here, let out a big fart, and left. Good God. How much time we got? I might end this show early. Sam in Denver, go ahead.
Hey, Brandon, I got 2 quick questions for you. You said last week that CU Boulder might be the best worst job in college football.
Yep.
And with a 5 loss, our first win over a 3-2, now 3-3 Cal. What do you think the interim bump was? And do you think interim bumps go across the board? And also, what do you think about us rushing the field, being 1-5?
I love it. Rushing the field doesn't happen enough. If you're Colorado and you think you're the worst team in Power 5 and there's still people coming out to your games and they sit through it all and then they beat Cal, rush the field, man. Go have fun. Go enjoy it. I love it. I love that energy. That's such great energy. And the interim bump is absolutely a thing. We've seen it this year. Georgia Tech won 2 games after Jeff Collins was fired. I thought they were the worst team in Power 5. Colorado has now won a game. Multiple, Nebraska won 2 straight after Scott Frost. Wisconsin won immediately after losing their coach. So I love the interim bump, and I love rushing the field. I think teams should rush the field more. do. 8-8, still 22. What are you talking about in the chat, TJ?
Somebody said bad producer for letting the call through.
I lied about his name.
Yeah, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I have his number now.
And
so
I
Googled
Googled
the number.
Googled the area code to see where it was.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what church was. He was smart. Because he did say a Mississippi town that is close to that area code.
I'm sure he Googled the area.
Iuka is right there across the border from where he sucks dick every day. Church sucks dick. Not a big deal. I don't know why y'all are mad. Sucks dick on the corner, and he meets guys in Selmer, Tennessee, and sucks their dick. So I'll give you his number if you DM me. I don't know why he meets at that motel in Selmer. He could just stay in Jackson, but he sucks some dick. Mean dick, too. Woo! He'll suck a dick. Speaking of sucking dick, Eric Blasingame says hotty toddy, Brandon. Apparently he heard the dick sucking talk and decided to say hotty toddy. That's him, not me. Crazy that you said that in that rant. That's unbelievable. Thank you for handing me that one. Somebody saying sucking dick? Hotty toddy! Jesus. What an idiot. Oh, man. Eric Blasingame. He sucks dick, too. Can I say that? It's probably not his name anyway. 8-8, still 22. We only have 30 seconds left, so I can't take Jeff's call or Ryan's call or OM's call. That guy's name is Om. That's a good name. Thoughts on Big T? Well, I face him in trivia tomorrow after he defiled my team and lost in the imagine losing to Uptown Balls in trivia. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. Did you cover high school football in Mississippi? Yes, for 10 years. Covered high school football in Mississippi, Louisiana, and then Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Choctaw, Niceville, all those. I'll see y'all.
Yankee stream tonight.
Oh, God.
November 11th, we are bringing the Barstool Invitational to the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. That's right, the captain of Philly is bringing our first college basketball tournament. We're doing it all. Halftime show, announcing, tickets, you name it, all us. Game 1, 5 p.m. It is UAB versus Toledo. Game 2, Mississippi State versus Akron. We're doing it all. You want a unique basketball experience? Buy your tickets today. They're cheap. Time of your life. Bang! Bye.